our main story, the inquest into the death of the MI6 codebreaker Gareth Williams.
An inquest has begun into the controversial death of a British spy whose body was found padlocked inside a bag at his London apartment.
Outfits, all a bit grim, really.
Good gracious me, how a man can be obviously murdered in his flat there is awful. That doesn't normally happen.
He'd visited bondage websites, gone to gay bars and bought tickets to drag shows. Police have revealed new details about the intensely private life of MI6 spy Gareth Williams, who was found dead in his London flat in August.
I've always been satisfied that a third party may have been involved in his death, and the coroner has confirmed that in her finding today.
The bag was locked from the outside, the key was found inside, and the man found inside it. A British intelligence analyst, considered one of the most gifted mathematical minds of his generation, left no fingerprints anywhere on the bag, the zipper, the padlock, or the bath. 14 years later, no one has been charged. No one has been identified as a suspect. And the British government has never fully explained what Gareth Williams was working on when he died. August 2010, London. A 31-year-old man named Gareth Williams has not been seen in over a week. Williams was not an ordinary civil servant. Born in Anglesey, Wales, he began studying university-level mathematics while still in secondary school, the kind of intellect that surfaces once in a generation. He was recruited by GCHQ, Britain's signals intelligence agency, and later seconded to MI6, their foreign intelligence service, where he was preparing for operational deployment. He had worked alongside agents from the U.S. National Security Agency and the FBI. On August 16, 2010, Williams failed to appear at his MI6 office, then the next day and the next. A full week passed before his colleagues formally raised the alarm. When police entered the Pimlico flat, a property owned and managed by the intelligence services, they found the curtains drawn. The flat was immaculate, undisturbed, except for one thing. In the ensuite bathroom, inside a dry bathtub, sat a red North Face hold-all, zipped shut and padlocked. The body of Gareth Williams was found in a decomposing state inside that bag. He was unclothed. The key to the padlock was found beneath his body.
Gareth Williams was regarded as highly proficient and a very effective member of the security organisation for which he worked.
Gareth Williams was a highly talented mathematician. I think probably fair to call him a genius.
Police have revealed new details about the intensely private life of MI6 spy Gareth Williams, who was found dead in his London flat in August.
The coroner estimated his date of death as the early hours of August 16th, the morning he first failed to appear for work. A week had passed. The question investigators couldn't answer wasn't simply how he died. It was something far more fundamental. How do you end up locked inside a bag with not a single trace of your own fingerprints on the outside? In forensic investigation, physical evidence records contact, pressure, movement. The human body, particularly unclothed, sheds DNA constantly, skin cells, oils, perspiration. Which is why what the forensic team did not find became the central contradiction of this entire case. Williams's DNA was absent from the padlock, the zipper, and the Velcro handles of the bag. There were no fingerprints or palm prints found on the bath itself. A man found unclothed inside a locked bag, with no biological trace on any of the surfaces he would have had to touch to get there. At the formal inquest in 2012, 2 independent experts were each asked the same question. Was it physically possible for a person to enter a bag of these dimensions and lock it from the inside? Peter Faulding, a world-leading expert in rescue from confined spaces, stated that he had failed to lock himself into an identical bag after 300 separate attempts. His conclusion? Williams was either placed in the bag while unconscious or was already deceased before being placed inside. A yoga specialist also failed the same test, though both declined to declare it technically impossible. 300 attempts. Not once. The forensic complications didn't stop there. Early in the inquiry, DNA found on Williams' hand was treated as a significant lead, investigated for 18 months. It later proved to be contamination. The profile belonged to one of the forensic scientists who had attended the scene. A private laboratory apologized. 2 digits in a numerical code had been transposed during data entry. 18 months. On a lead that wasn't a lead at all. Meanwhile, evidence continued to degrade. A week in August, heat had already compromised the scene before officers arrived. 2 minor DNA components were found on the zip toggle and padlock, but insufficient to generate a usable profile, insufficient to identify anyone. A contaminated DNA lead, a week-long delay in reporting him missing, 9 memory sticks from his office, not handed to police. The question wasn't just who was in that flat. It was, what did Gareth Williams know? To understand the full weight of this case, you have to understand what Williams was working on. 2 senior British police sources confirmed that some of his work concerned Russia, specifically that he had been helping the U.S. National Security Agency trace international money laundering routes used by organized crime networks with reported connections to Moscow. The U.S. State Department formally requested that no details of his work be disclosed at the inquest. He was also, according to inquest testimony, part of a group of intelligence officers sent to Las Vegas in July 2010, just weeks before his death, to attend and report on major hacking conferences, including Black Hat and DEF CON 18. His last known digital activity was browsing a cycling website at approximately 1 in the morning on August 16th. Hours later, pathology evidence suggests he was deceased. One of his iPhones found in the lounge had been operated that same night and then reset to factory settings. At 23:54, the device was backed up to his linked laptop, an action that potentially overwrote message records and call history from that evening. Who reset the phone? Williams himself or someone else after the fact? The digital forensic examination drew significant criticism. Officers analyzing his Apple devices appeared unfamiliar with the operating system, raising questions about whether crucial data, location geotags, application records, address book entries, had simply been overlooked. And then there was what the Metropolitan Police's Counterterrorism Command failed to disclose before the inquest even began. 9 memory sticks and other property found in Williams's MI6 office had not been handed to the senior investigating officer. Formal statements had not been taken from intelligence service staff. The coroner stated explicitly that the possible involvement of intelligence service personnel in the death was a legitimate line of inquiry for the police. 9 memory sticks from his secure office, withheld from investigators. A further 12-month reinvestigation was ordered, with what was described as unprecedented access to serving MI6 staff. The result, no definitive answers. And in 2024, a final forensic review using modern DNA techniques unavailable in 2010 was completed. No new evidence was found. No further lines of inquiry were identified. The Metropolitan Police concluded that Williams had likely been alone when he died. A coroner ruled his death unnatural and likely criminally caused. Police concluded he was probably alone. An expert couldn't lock the bag 300 times. Both things cannot simultaneously be true. So what actually happened on the night of August 15th? None has been conclusively proven. None has been conclusively eliminated. Theory 1, a targeted intelligence operation. The theory Williams's family has consistently found most credible, that his death was directly connected to his work. His involvement in tracing money laundering routes linked to Moscow-based criminal networks would, in theory, have made him a high-value target. The counter-argument, no direct evidence links any foreign state actor to the scene. No intelligence attribution has ever been publicly confirmed, and the 2024 Forensic Review found no DNA consistent with a third party's presence. Theory 2, a staged scene. The second theory holds that regardless of motive, the physical evidence strongly suggests the scene was arranged after Williams died. This was, in fact, the working assumption of the detective chief inspector throughout the inquest. No evidence of a struggle was found. The shower curtain had been drawn. The lights were off. The scene appeared composed, deliberate. The counter-argument, the 2024 DNA review, found no evidence of a second person present. The padlock question remains technically open, not definitively resolved by either conclusion. Theory 3, accidental death. The Metropolitan Police's official conclusion following their reinvestigation in 2013 was that Williams's death was probably an accident. His browsing history indicated a documented private interest consistent with a scenario of self-inflicted incapacitation. His former landlady had previously found Williams in a situation at his flat where he required assistance freeing himself. Under this theory, the absence of his DNA on the bag's exterior is attributed to evidence degradation during the week before discovery. The counter-argument remains stark. 300 attempts by the world's foremost confined space expert, never once successfully completing the lock. Theory 4, institutional conduct. The fourth theory doesn't allege direct culpability, but asks whether those responsible for Williams' professional welfare behaved in ways that demand explanation. A week passed before his absence was formally reported. 9 memory sticks were withheld from investigators. Formal statements weren't taken from intelligence staff. The head of MI6 met with the head of the Metropolitan Police in the immediate aftermath, reportedly to discuss how the investigation would be managed. The coroner explicitly named the possible involvement of intelligence service staff as a legitimate line of inquiry. None of this is proof of wrongdoing. Intelligence agencies operate under strict confidentiality requirements, but the pattern of omissions, the delayed alarm, the withheld property, the undisclosed evidence raise questions that were never fully answered under oath. 4 theories, 14 years, multiple forensic reviews, and still, the single physical fact at the center of this case has never been adequately explained by any of them. Gareth Williams was buried at Inniswen Cemetery in Valley Anglesey, the community where he grew up, on September 26, 2010, his birthday. His family has never accepted the accidental death conclusion. They have maintained across 14 years and multiple formal proceedings that a second person was present when Gareth Williams died, and that person has never been held accountable. The coroner who presided over the 2012 inquest agreed with them, ruling his death unnatural and, on the balance of probability, unlawfully caused. The Metropolitan Police disagreed, concluding that the most probable scenario was an accident, and the 2024 Forensic Review found no new evidence, no new leads, no further lines of inquiry in law, in science, in intelligence work. We operate on what can be demonstrated and proven, and the evidence demonstrates this. A man was found inside a locked bag, locked from the outside. No fingerprints on the padlock, no DNA on the zipper. An expert failed 300 times to replicate the act under ideal conditions. The person or persons responsible for placing that bag in that bath has never been identified. The official record states that Gareth Williams probably died alone. But if that's true, who locked the bag?